Hi and welcome to Small Talk. We're here today with my colleague Sven Schreiber to talk about the Asian market. Sven, thanks for joining us today.
Hello Janis, thanks for the invitation.
So almost every day, Sven, we can read that Asia is the next big thing for solar. It's the market of the future. Is this really true? Can you tell us a little bit about the potential of this market?
Oh yes, I'm absolutely convinced this is true, and we already see a big movement in there. I mean, we see a big mixture out of markets which really have established many years ago, and of course very new upcoming markets. Of course, from a size point of view, we have China, which will have tremendous plans and tremendous development in the future. But also we do have Japan, of course, as a very big market, and very much other markets like, for example, Thailand, India, and further markets. So it's a huge market.
Okay, I was told that doing business in Asia works a little bit differently than over here in Europe. What are similarities and differences when it comes to installing a PV system on a residential and on a commercial level?
Well, you have really very much different market models. Yeah? So you have a market like Australia, where you have a very strong influence from a so-called retail market, which is a very much different market model compared to, for example, the German market model, where you do really a lot of sales, for example, via call centers of PV systems. This is motivated, for example, by the way of subsidies, but also this market is changing. Then you have, again, other markets, like, for example, the market in Japan, which is a tremendous residential market. It's by far the largest residential market we have in the world. But of course also there, due to new subsidy systems, you have also an upcoming industrial market there with also very different market models.
You just mentioned a couple countries, Japan, China, but also India. What is the situation there like? Are we really talking about an energy transition, or are we starting up from zero, basically?
Well, it's partly an energy transition. For example, in Japan, for sure, it's a very much energy transition. After the, well, unfortunate catastrophe in March 2011, that is, of course, a very big impact what happened there. So by shutting down all the nuclear power plants in the future, they now have to find new ways. And of course, renewable energy is a very good source. And so we are really talking here about the energy transition period. In other markets, it's more the hunger also for energy. So where you have, for example, India as a market. In India, well, you have a kind of unstable grid situation in some areas, or even no energy at all. So there are huge opportunities, for example, the hybrid business in our industry, and of course for stabilizing the energy supply for the consumers.
I know that you have traveled back and forth quite a lot of times. So I think it's fair to say that Asia has become your second home in a way. What is most fascinating to you about this culture and this region?
Well, simply the size of the region is one of the really fascinating things. I mean, when I talk to people and I say, well, I'm on my way to Australia and I stop over, for example, in Bangkok, then they say, oh, it's only a small distance then. But indeed, it's nearly 10 hours another flight. So it's really huge distances we are talking about. And the most fascinating is just the diversity of cultures. Yeah? So you have Japanese, Chinese, Thai, Indian. You have the Australian, which are, of course, a little bit more westernized, let's say. But it's just fascinating to talk to these people, to understand the culture, to understand their background, and also to get a very different view on your own culture and your own country. So that is very fascinating.
So what was perhaps the most, or the culture shock when you first got there? What was the biggest difference?
Well, the way people treat each other is, of course, a very fascinating thing. And that is also a thing when I went to Asia the very first time. It was also a thing which I was very concerned of. Do I have things right and don't I right? But on the other side, the people, of course, understand also your background, and they are open, and the friendliness of the people. That's just amazing. They take very good care of you. They are very open. But on the other side, of course, they have their culture, and you have to respect that.
So if we switch perspectives, what do your Chinese and Asian colleagues think about Germany and the German PV market then?
Oh, well, the German PV market over the last year was, of course, a role model, yeah, for not only Asia, for many other countries. So people there look very much on what is going on, especially in Germany, you can say. So many things have been adopted from the model system. And of course, they also now watch very carefully what is going on, and they take also lessons learned out of that. And on the German side, of course, they are very much looking into, or their belief on the Germans is, of course, the quality, the really keeping the plans, being very structured. You know, these are the attitudes they relate to us, and sometimes they, after some period in time, recognize, maybe it's not always like that. So this is what they see. Yes, it's the stereotype.
Okay, very interesting. Well, thank you very much, Sven, for the interview, and thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time.